Erev Tov Chavrim, I'm Stephen Bennun. You're watching Israeli News Live, and we do have news coming out of Israel tonight. The IDF actually posting this video moments ago on their Twitter page there, showing 3 targets inside of Syria that they have taken out. And according to the Israeli IDF Twitter page there, it was an unauthorized UAV entering into Israel that brought this response against the Syrian army inside of Syria. And of course, we have been expecting this. I'd gotten one email from a friend of ours, Lance, that it actually said to me there was a lot of talk on Twitter that there was coming a strike on the Syrian against Syria by Israel sometime tonight. Now that was around 9 p.m. That he was sharing that with me, Israeli local time. At that point, as far as I am aware of, there had not been strikes that had occurred as of yet. It's very interesting to me because when I look at this, one thing that I think about is that you know, Israel is trying to steal in one way or the other. Now, that's not the Israeli people, but rather the elite of the government there are still trying to protect the Al-Qaeda and even ISIS militants that are in this region just across the border. Now, ISIS is not in Quneitra. They're a little bit further south, but not much further south. And therefore, anytime the Syrian army is making advances, they're still trying to protect their loyal thugs that are over in the country there. This is something that the Israeli people must cry out against inside of Israel, is that we can't just go around attacking the Syrian government, especially when President Bashar al-Assad has never attacked Israel to start with. They have only been in a defensive posture each time that Israel has gone in and attacked Iranian targets. And of course, in many cases, it has taken out Syrian military as well. Very troubling situation indeed that is happening over there in the border there tonight with Israel. And although we stand with Israel's right to defend itself, we should emphasize that's to defend ourselves. And a UAV coming over into Israel, if that is even true, is not a means of defense. Take out the UAV. That could have been sent in by Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra, just like all of the mortar rounds that fall inside of Israel. Many times it is by the terrorist groups there only to get the Israel to jump in and get involved in that situation there on the ground. So another thing I want to share with you, RT put up this footage here. This is in Texas, guys. And I believe that was El Paso, Texas, if I remember right. In El Paso, Texas, this is a police officer. He's going to pull his gun on kids. I mean, this is absolutely absurd. We're not even talking about refugees or asylum seekers or illegals coming across the border. This is a kid being drug off. Looks like he's about maybe 13 years old. They're arresting him, dragging him off. Then he pulls out his stick. They're going to beat him or something. There is a mother that videos this, and let me let me lower the volume here. You won't hear much because I have to blurt out all the cussing that's involved. Watch him as he draws his gun on him. Then he holsters his gun back. I mean, the man needs to be put in prison himself. When you've got a police officer willing to pull a gun on children, I mean, how old are these guys? 9, 10 years old? Maybe some of them, maybe 12? You know, guys, listen, I worked too long with the U.S. government and with law enforcement to know this is a criminal act. Major, I know they would consider this a policy violation, but to pull a weapon on a child, that is a criminal act. That is a criminal act. Yeah, he might say he was going to scare them. Well, you know, you notice he pulled his little stick out to scare them with too. All right? You're not dealing with adults. And he can easily, if he's got to arrest for a child, if he's got to arrest a child to start with, he can easily push children back without being, this is beyond me. Speaking of this here, let me just share something with you. I know there's so many people that are really defending President Trump over the policy issues that have caused so many children to be separated from families. And I get it, believe me, I understand. No, it wasn't Trump that started the policy, and he's not the only one that separated the children from the families. But the thing is, it's really kind of gone a little bit nuts. Haaretz has reported here that Paula White, now this is one of his evangelical aides there that is giving the president advice spiritually on what to do. And this was interesting because I brought out the issue about Jesus being a refugee. And so she steps up and says, Jesus wasn't a refugee. Trump's spiritual advisor rewrites the gospel to defend him. I kind of like that the Jewish newspaper Haaretz actually had enough brains to know that the gospel itself clearly identifies Jesus as a refugee. Now, for Paula White, listen, Paula, if you ever happen to listen to the broadcast, maybe you should have taken the time to look up the word to begin with, just so you know what the word and how you define the word refugee. Okay, even a pronunciation, refugee, all right? A person who has been forced to leave their country in order to escape war, persecution, or natural disaster. You tell me that Jesus wasn't a refugee? Let's take a look over here. What does it say here in Matthew chapter 2? Then Herod, when he had privately called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, Go and search diligently for the young child, and when you have found him, bring me word again that I may come and worship him also. Sounds like a pope to me. When they had heard the thing, they departed. Maybe I shouldn't say a pope. Maybe I should say it sounds like a politician to me. Yeah, you know, double speak, say one thing, mean another thing. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceedingly great joy. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. God knew what Herod's intention was against Jesus. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother, flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. What? Okay, let's go back. Paula White, please listen here. A person who has been forced to leave their country in order to escape what? War, persecution, or natural disaster. That's a persecution. Not only was it a persecution, and not only did Herod want to kill him, but when he arose, he took the young child, his mother, by night and departed into Egypt. He was a refugee. He was seeking refuge in a neighboring country for the sake of his own life. And there until the death of Herod. That it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the Lord, the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt have I called my son. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceedingly wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and all the coast thereof, from the 2 years old and under, according to the time of which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by the prophet Jeremy, saying, In Ramah excuse me, was there a voice heard, lamentation and weeping and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and would not be comforted because they are not. Let me tell you something. You don't think that Yeshua doesn't look down on this situation, what's happened in the United States, all the way back through the Obama administration as well. And all these children that have been separated from their parents, and President Trump even saying now he's just sending everybody back. Not even going to reunite them, just send them all back. Why don't you just throw them to the lion pit instead? You might think that's pretty hard, but let me tell you something. What would Jesus do? What do you think Rachel is doing? Rachel. Do you think that she's rejoicing in heaven as she sees these mothers as they're weeping? Do you not know that she understands their feeling for the loss of their child? Let alone the fathers and the family members. And some of these people, you know, just trying to get to our country because of all the violence that's going on in their country from the drug wars. And let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you right now. I spoke about this a little bit deeper on Patreon, you know, and we do have our meeting here. I still did not bring the information in on that. I apologize. We'll do the video tomorrow and we'll bring it in. We are getting the emails. It is here in Orlando, and I know I got to get you the information of the hotel that's actually at. I don't know if I have that or not right here. I do not. I can probably pull it up on the map here in just a second. I'll get you the hotel in a moment. But, you know, the thing is, do you not think that, I don't know where I was thinking at. You know, guys, listen, this is a tragedy. This is a tragedy what's happening. Oh, I know what I was thinking about. You know, back during the times, especially back in the 80s when I was involved, the illegal drug operations that were going on by the U.S. government. I shouldn't say it like that. You know, our boys in arms many times do not know what's going on. We're just fighting guerrilla warfare, special forces going down, maybe don't even have an idea of what's going on, arming the Contras, fighting down in Nicaragua, things of that nature there. I know a tremendous amount about that, you know, and I don't know personally about the Clintons and their alleged involvement in the things there and the drug operations, but I can tell you one thing for a fact. It is true that high-ranking government officials, senators, and even presidential nominees from the past are definitely involved in these particular activities one way or the other, either directly or indirectly or profiting from it, etc. Those things are a true fact, I can tell you that. And we have created such a massive mess in Central America and South America because of all these drug wars. Yeah, drug wars. That's what our government is fighting for down there. To make sure that they gain and maintain control of the illegal imports of those drugs. That's one reason why I've been wondering about this new thing where they're trying to pass laws across the United States to allow cannabis. No, they're not going to allow you to grow it yourself or to use it yourself if that's the type thing you do. I mean, I personally have never used it in my entire life. But they will take, and they will use this as another way to bring it in now legally in huge quantities, or maybe still illegally. And by the way, Monsanto has already developed a hybrid strain, so yeah, they're going to control your brain with that as well. You think they'll ever give you the real thing? No, they won't. And I'm not saying, I've heard a lot of good benefits about this. And I came from a family, by the way, that parts of my family, I should say, that were heavy into those type things as well. It's one reason I always despised it growing up. But anyway, this is something. Rachel weeping for her children. As I said, do you not think that Rachel is not weeping for the children that are separated from their parents? Do you not think that Yeshua doesn't know what's going on? You know, and listen, I don't have a problem with Paula White defending President Trump. She believes that he's the man of God for this day or whatever. But that just shows me how messed up the evangelical community is. The leaders, that is, not the people in the evangelical community. There's many good Christians in the evangelical community. Believe me, I know there are. But when they're all taking you back to the Pope of Rome, and then Paula White tells you that Jesus wasn't a refugee, are you serious? I mean, come on, Paula. Don't you know your Bible any better than that? I mean, the Jews have to tell you Trump's spiritual advisor rewrites the gospel to defend him. I mean, they know more about Jesus than she does. Jeez. Let's just see. White, a friend of Trump's and one of his spiritual advisors, gave a sermon at this 2016 presidential inauguration, become the first prosperity preacher to perform at the ceremony. All right, in the interview with CBN after she visited the Youth for Tomorrow foster care center where some of the children separated from their parents under Trump's zero-tolerance immigration policy are being housed, she praised the center's efforts and said the center was beyond phenomenal. Do you think that Trump's going to send Paula White to a place where they don't allow nobody to go to? They don't allow senators or nobody to go to? I mean, come on. Child trafficking, pornography, every other kind of evil and ungodly debauchery that goes on amongst political figures. And that's not all of them. Listen, I realize not all politicians are like that. I know that. I can't say who's good and who's not, but I will tell you in the near future who are some of the bad ones. She also claimed that she learned that most of the children were debt ranging between $3,000 to $10,000 to human traffickers, and said the visit strengthened her views on the needs for tightened border security. All right, I agree with that. And again, I'm not for illegal immigration. And I definitely do not like the fact of these people being traffickers. But let me tell you something. You know they talk about this indebtedness. You know where the crime is that needs to be found first? It's not necessarily these guys that are trafficking these kids to get them to the United States. It's those companies that are hiring these kids that are paying the traffickers to bring them in. Like if you go back and look, there was a documentary, and I think it's on Netflix, where they were bringing illegals in, and it was the largest egg-producing company in America that was hiring these kids, keeping them in appalling conditions, and taking their paychecks every week for like 3 years, except for maybe $60 to live on, while they lived in rat, roach, infested, no water, putrefied trailers. Yeah. So the problem begins here at home. Clean up your own house and then consider cleaning up your neighbor's house. First, clean up the fact and get out of these countries and quit being involved in illegal drug trade, bringing it here in America on a governmental level. You know, just like when Bill Clinton said he's going to go down, I'm going to go down there and fight drugs and I'm going to stop these drug dealers down there and stuff. Yeah, you stopped the competition is what you were doing. You sent our military to silence the competition so your guys could make sure you got the drugs in the country. Yeah. Jeez. What a putrefied mess we have going on. Anyway, I didn't get a chance to say hello to everybody. God bless all of you that are watching tonight. You know, and listen, I know there's many of you that love President Trump. I'm not here to offend you, but I got to tell you the truth. If you just want me, you know, because listen, I definitely don't care for the Democrats and don't care for Hillary Clinton either. And it's not as far as your political view personally. I'm not worried if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, Tea Party, whatever you may be. You know, I've always said, you know, I voted one time. I voted for Jesus Christ, and that's my vote. You know, I didn't vote for anybody else. He's the one that I voted for, and I know I'm going to win. I'm not going to lose. And, you know, I know that people twist the scripture and try to think that, you know, Jesus puts everybody into office. Well, Jesus didn't put Hitler into office. And do you think that Jesus put Obama into office? I mean, really? And then everybody, they laud Trump as Cyrus. Now, I know that God says in His Word through Ezra that He had Cyrus to send the people back home so they could build their temple. But don't forget, it was not just Cyrus, it was Darius as well, and Artaxerxes. In fact, Artaxerxes is the one that was attributed for the beginning of the 70 weeks of Daniel and the starting of the 70 weeks of Daniel, because it was to build the walls and the moat, and he also built the streets, etc. And God can take anybody, and an evil guy, you know, and make it work for His glory. But remember, Cyrus, according to the Cyrus cylinder, and I stood right there. In fact, I'm going to post it on Patreon there. I'll post that video, and I'll try to put it on Israeli News Live as well for you guys. So you can see it on our Facebook page. The Cyrus cylinder, we went there ourselves to see it. And I know the very man, I know him personally, the very man that actually translated the Cyrus cylinder. I've spoke with him, I interviewed him before. And as he said on there, Cyrus claims to worship two different pagan gods. All right, so if you're liking Trump to Cyrus, yeah, he might help get the temple rebuilt, but does that mean that he's serving pagan gods as well? Well, the Vatican sure serves a lot of pagan gods, I guarantee you that. And you know, by the way, did you know that President Trump, do you remember his speech there? He's going to defend the Catholic Church. You know, well, defend people. If you want to defend someone, defend the Catholic people that they can be safe and live free. Defend the evangelicals, defend the Baptists, the Methodists. Make sure they all have equal rights as human beings. That's the way we stand up and defend people. But if you're going to take and harbor an organization where there are leaders in this organization that are into pedophilia or even into, and by the way, they're also into the drug smuggling as well. This is ridiculous. I'm on a rant. Sorry, guys. I saw so many things here tonight, and you know, Paula White, I was really shocked to see that Paula White would actually make that kind of statement. I understand her standing with President Trump because she believes in the man and she believes that he's going to be a man for God. But I also know that Paula White also is helping take in the people to the Vatican. It's all an agenda. In fact, let me see if I can find this real quick for you guys. There's something that I think it would be good if I can remember how to find this. Let's see, 501c pastor agenda. I don't know if that's the way it's going to be worded or not, but there is okay, let's see. I don't even know how to search this, guys. I'm just looking right now, Pastor 501c political, or excuse me, work for the government, churches. I don't know how to do it right now, but there is an agenda of, and I don't know if it's called the response team or what that was called. I'll have to ask my wife. She's pretty good at remembering these things. But there is a plan that has been signed, that was signed where ministers have agreed to, when the time comes, to turn their parishioners in. And I need to do a special broadcast on that for you guys. Anyway, all right. Oh, I said to you as well, the meeting here let me pull up maps real quick so I can show you where this particular hotel is, and that way we can get the name, all that kind of good stuff up for you here. And let me go to Orlando. I think, okay, I think it's up here by Ultimate Springs. And I use a VPN, so it pops up in a weird place every time. I like to keep the government guessing. Let's see here. Give me 1 second, guys. We're going to find out exactly where it's at there. We had stayed in an apartment here, right in this area here for a while. We keep doing temporary leases there when we come in. So we try to lease a place for about 4 or 5 months, and then we go back over to Europe. You know, a little bit of a pain in the neck to do things like that, but sometimes I think it's just safer for my family. Okay, I got to stay closer to the interstate here. And, I know what, if I could tell what the exit number is, I think I know it by exit number. But they're not, oh, wait a minute, yes, they are showing, okay, it's exit 93, I believe, so it's the next exit up. And, yes, right there where the Whole Foods are. Okay, and this is Embassy Suites by, I didn't know that was a Hilton hotel, Embassy Suites. Okay, anyway, they actually have a conference room there. That is the place where we're doing the conference at. So we were able to get a conference room. In order to be able to seat 100 people, it was pretty expensive. It's close to $400 to do that. So we took and we leased a conference room. Again, that is, what day did I tell you that was on, guys? That's the 4th of next month, August 4th, right? It's a Saturday. I do know that. So I wanted to do it to where it made it easy to come in. It'll be a half day starting in the evening. And I think our beginning time is 6 p.m. And let me see if I can get you the details on this hotel here, just so we have that. And again, we're going to get this up on the website tomorrow. It's also listed on hotels.com. If you have hotels.com, you probably get a heck of a lot better deal. They're not offering a deal with us. They're showing $119 a night for their rooms, which that's not too bad. I mean, at least it's not Motel 6, right? I always liked, though, Tom Bodette's commercials about the Hotel 6, and I used to stay there all the time. Believe it or not, yes, I did. I always stayed at Hotel 6. So, when you get married, though, you can't do that. All right, so brothers, let me tell you that. Your wife ain't going to let you stay at Hotel 6 when you're married. Holiday Inn is normally where we stay at. But anyway, let's see. I was thinking they had an address for this thing on here. All right, Embassy Suites by Hilton, Orlando North. That's what it's called, Orlando North. And you don't have to stay there. There are lots of hotels right here in this area, but that's where this is where it's actually being done at. And it's right there. The road that they're located on is called Shorecrest Drive. And I think across the street as well. Let me just look real quick, see if we can get any other hotels. Now the Ultimate Hotels and Suites, yeah, that's another hotel place right across the street. I've seen that one as well. You have Spring Hill Suites by Marriott as well at the same exit. And there's a lot of good places right here too. It's one reason why we picked this place. Two, we picked it for a couple of reasons. One, most hotels will not let me book a conference room unless I book rooms as well. Well, I don't want to be responsible for people's rooms because I don't have the money for that. And so, you know, and if people can't show up, then you get kind of stuck with something you don't want to do. There is a mall right here. Called Ultimate Mall. You have Whole Foods Food Market there. I've got a lot of little shopping places, so if you're coming in from out of town, and a lot of different little places to eat right in this area, as well as on the other side of the interstate, you've got Chipotle, you also have Olive Garden, you have Chick-fil-A. For those of you that like Chick-fil-A for breakfast, I always like Chick-fil-A myself. So, and I'm only a few minutes away from this particular place as well. I live about 10-15 minutes from there. So it's pretty easy for us on that issue there. So anyway, that's where that's at. We have been getting emails, and what we will do, we're going to try to get all this together. Email us if you would at stevenbennun@gmail.com. I know some maybe email my wife directly. As we get them in, we'll take first come, first served basis. We'll get everybody tallied up. We will email you back. We're going to print it out. I got to get a printer set up because I haven't set the printer up since we got here. We're going to print them out so we have who all's coming. And maybe there won't be no more than 100 people anyway that can come to this particular event with only a 3-week notice. But we will get that. If we get over that number, we will email you back and let you know that we don't have the space. But if we have a cancellation, of course. And by the way, if you're coming and you send us an email and you do have a cancellation, please let us know that you've canceled. So that if we're over the 100 for some reason, we can at least let other people know that we have a space available as well. Now, if I see a huge amount of people coming, let's say if next thing we know we got 125, 150, I still have enough time in the first week to contact the hotel, and we can add another section on there that it'll double the price. I think it goes to like 800 at that point, something like that. Maybe not. Maybe it's a little bit cheaper. Who knows? But they did tell me it's the off season. As of right now, that I could still get a larger area. So if you can let me know within the next week here, those that are coming, we get enough of this in here, and if we see that it's going to go over, we'll go ahead and contact the hotel and try to up the number that we can do there. And like I said, we'll just do a love offering to try to help cover the cost of the facility there. You know, and listen, if you can't give, it's okay. I'm not worried about that. I just want you to be able to come. We want to share things with you. So, but anyway, God will bless in what we need to do to get it taken care of. He always does. So that's what's going on there. I don't want to just keep sitting here rambling with you guys. And please, if you're saying here on here you're coming, don't let that be the one that tells me you're coming, because I would never know. I'm going to put here, though, in the chat here, and you could email us from our website as well, Israeli News Live at Gmail. But here at Gmail, if you send it to my name there, you can use my email there. Keep in mind, I am thousands of emails behind in answering. I check emails every day, but it seems like an impossibility to ever get caught up. But if you would, in the description, right there in the description, put on there Orlando meeting, okay? Just type that in there. I'm going to put this down in the description on the video as well for you guys. I'll put down also in the description the name of the hotel there. I thought it would actually give me an address, but it doesn't. And then that way there, if you're able to make it, let us know. We're going to start getting these tallied up. And I'll kind of let you know how many people are coming each day as we go, just so you're aware of how many people are already coming. All right? So, but anyway. All right, blessings to all of you. We love you guys. Again, it'll just be me and Yana speaking at this particular event there. And we will be working this week, next week, on setting up the next set of meetings, which will actually take place probably in the 3rd week of August up near North Carolina. We're going to try to take, when we speak, we got to have little gaps in there, but we'll do 2 meetings on the road here. And it should be the 3rd week of August. So just to kind of give you an idea on that as well. Shalom, shalom. Love all you guys. I'm sorry for rambling. Sometimes I ramble.